श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम्। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम्। अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्ददामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णा प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः। प्रपन्नपारिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दुग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला। अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः। पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटं नानाख्यानककेसरं मरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितं। लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद्भारतपङ्कजं कलिमलप्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतस्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैर्गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणा। देवाय तस्मै नमः, देवाय तस्मै नमः, देवाय तस्मै नमः। Welcome to the study of the Bhagavad Gita. We are studying the 11th chapter, Vishwa Rupa Darshana Yoga, the vision of the cosmic form of the Lord, Sri Krishna. Sanjaya, the narrator of the Bhagavad Gita, is describing the form of the divine form of Sri Krishna. In the 9th verse, he starts saying that Sri Krishna showed his divine form to Arjuna, and in the 10th verse he said that Arjuna beheld Sri Krishna as having countless faces and eyes. Aneka vaktranayanam, aneka adbhuta darshanam, aneka divyabharanam, divyanekodyathayudam. Having countless faces and eyes, exhibiting countless features, provoking wonder, bedecked with countless celestial ornaments, equipped with countless divine weapons held aloft. The countless weapons because for Shishta Samrakshana, for the welfare of the virtuous and also for the destruction of the wicked. That is a dual purpose. An astra has got dual purpose. There are two words in Sanskrit language. One is called astra and the other is called shastra. Astra and shastra. Astra is that which is thrown like a bullet, or in modern days, in the olden days, like a spear and so on and so forth. Shastra is that which one holds in one's hand. Of course, it is interchanged. Sometimes even those which are held by the hand are also called as astra. But technically, astra is asa kshepane. That means that which is thrown far. But here he says aneka ayudham. Ayudha is another word. Ayudha means a weapon. Any weapon or even any tool can be called as ayudha. So, this astra has got, as I earlier said, has two purposes. One is to protect oneself, and the other is to punish the wrongdoer or the evil doer. There is another word also which we come across that is called as shastra. Shastra and shastra. Shastra is the scripture, and shastra also does this. It also helps one to protect from doubt, and it also helps protect from attack from the other persons, that is verbal attack or intellectual attacks from the other people. So you refer to the Shastra and then you give a counter argument. So Divya Aneka Anekot Yathayudam, and in the next verse says Divya Malyambaradharam Divya Gandhanulepanam Sarvascharya Devam Ayam Devam Anantam Vishvato Mukham. Divya Malya Ambarataram is having Divya Malya, wearing heavenly garlands and vestments, anointed with celestial unguents and perfumes, replete with incredible, marvelous features, a divinity boundless and all-seeing. Everything is divya. Div means to illumine, to light up. That is to say, that which is where there is light, you can see very clearly. So all these things are divya. All these are divine. So by saying this, the author is indicating to us that whatever is associated with the divine, whatever is associated with God, must be considered as holy or sacred. Divya Malya, the garlands. That's why when we use the garland to use or wear the garland or dress or decorate a deity with a garland, we do not just dispose it off haphazardly. We dispose it off very thoughtfully, and we don't throw it away anywhere and everywhere. We may nowadays recycle it, of course. Recycle, or we put it into compost. That's all right. But otherwise we treat it with great respect. We do not trample upon it and all that, because it represents the divine, divine form of God. So garlands and vestments, that means all the dresses, etc. And then all the celestial unguents and perfumes. That means all that is very pleasant to the divine, replete with incredible, marvelous features. In the next verse, which is a very important verse, Sanjaya is describing the form of Sri Krishna. Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhaved Yugapaduttita Yadi Bhas Sadrishi Sasyad Bhasastasya Mahatmana. Surya Sahasrasya Divi Bhaha Yugapat Uttita Bhaved. It means what brilliance there would have been if 1,000 suns were to blaze forth all of a sudden in the sky. To that was comparable the splendor of that great being. Sun represents jnana or knowledge. When the sun rises, then darkness disappears. Sun is also self-effulgent. Nobody else illumines the sun. And sun gives light to the many of the planets in the universe. And here he is saying that his illumination lit up everything. And he gives an example as if it were 1,000 suns. One sun itself is enough, sufficient enough for us. Sometimes it's unbearable when in summer it's unbearable. Just imagine the shine of 1,000 suns, Surya Sahasrasya, 1,000 suns. So therefore it is here by saying this, Sanjaya is indicating that you cannot measure the jnana, you cannot measure knowledge. It is vast, and the divine is the repository of all knowledge. Divi Surya Sahasrasya. If he says Yugapat Uttita, if they arise, all of them Yugapat together, if they Uttita, if they arise, what will happen? So that is the explanation that he gives here. So that was comparable, to that was comparable the splendor of that great being. When the atom bomb was first tested in the desert of New Mexico in 1945, Robert Oppenheimer, who was the scientist that put the atom bomb together, he had studied Sanskrit, and so it is said that when he saw the brilliance that was created by the bomb blast, he exclaimed, using this verse, he said, Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhaved Yugapatutita. Just imagine that 1,000 suns rise once for all, once all together. How great it would be. So I can now understand a little bit about the sayings of the Bhagavad Gita by seeing this phenomena that occurred there. Yugapat Uttita Yadi Bhaha Sadrishi Sasyat. Brilliance of the mighty being. Bhasastasya Mahatmanaha. That great being. His splendor is equal to that. Tatraikastham jagatkritsnam pravibhaktamanekadha apashyat devadevasya sharire pandavastatha. There in the body of that God of all divinities, the son of Pandu then saw the whole universe. a multiplicity abiding, unified in his being. In that body of the Lord, he saw all divinities in one single spot, ekastham, in one single spot, Jagat Krishnam, all the universes he saw over there, entire universe, or multiverse nowadays. And he saw it there. Pravibhaktam, how did he see? Pravibhaktam, one becoming many, one divinity manifesting as many. That is the explanation that we give to so many deities or divinities that we worship in Hinduism. The one becoming many. Arjuna sees in Sri Krishna's form, all the universes. Chaturdasha Bhuvana Loka, according to our mythology. Chaturdasha Bhuvana Loka. 14 worlds, 7 above and 7 below. All these universes could be seen in Sri Krishna. This earth is a tiny speck in the universe. The earth where we live is a very tiny speck. And the universe also in turn is a speck in the multiverse. The universe that we know of is just a speck in the multiverse. So the essence of this 11th chapter seems to be in this verse, Tatra Ekastham, that means unification, unity. Unity in diversity. There is Arjuna sees here both the macrocosm as well as the microcosm. Both of these he sees in the person or the body of Sri Krishna. In the 10th chapter, Vibhuti Yoga, we found that Arjuna was told by Sri Krishna how various forms or various objects in the universe are the manifestation of his glory. And here in this chapter, we see that the world is shown to exist in the divine. One is that which is coming out of the divine, that is the Vibhuti Yoga, and here everything is existing in the divine. Both of these, macro and microcosms, has been explained here. Sri Ramakrishna used to say that to know the divine, you need to know, to accept the divine, you need to know the entirety of the divine. And he used to give an example of a bale fruit. A bale fruit has got a very hard shell, bilva. It has got a hard shell, it has got pulp, it has got seeds, and it has got fiber. So if you want to know the weight of the bale fruit, all of those have to be accepted. That is, the shell, which is not of much use, the seeds, which are not of much use, the fiber, which is also not of much use, only the pulp is of great use. But if you want to describe a bale fruit, all of those needs to be taken together. So here Sri Krishna is both immanent as well as transcendent. He is above and also within. That is the idea that he represents here. A multiplicity, abiding, unified. Everything is united in the divine, in his being. Tatassa vishmaya vishto rishtharoma dhananjaya pranamya shirasa devam kritanjalirabhashata. Thereupon Arjuna, struck with amazement, and his hairs standing on end, bowed down before the Lord and said with hands folded in salutations, Vismaya Avishtaha. Vismaya means bewilderment, amazement or bewilderment. Till now, Arjuna had thought of Sri Krishna as his friend, guide, as well as a philosopher. But now he sees this divine form of Sri Krishna and he is bewildered. We are all bewildered when we see or experience something which we have not even guessed or thought of before. So he says here, Vismaya Avishtaha. And then Hrishta Roma Dhananjaya. Hrishta means he was filled with joy. Hairs stood on the end. When there is an excessive joy, the hairs stand on end. Hrishta Roma. The Lord is the repository, the storehouse of all the divine qualities. So here he is saying that within him there is all the ananda within him. That's why knowing the divine, one will become the divine. That means all the qualities of the divine becomes yours. And he says he is Dhananjaya. That is, Arjuna was a very fit instrument. He was a fit disciple, Dhananjaya. He had earned or amassed lot of wealth, that is spiritual wealth. Therefore he says, you are the right person and therefore this vision is being given to you. And what does Dhananjaya do? Pranamya. He falls at the feet of the Lord and with folded hands, Shirasa Pranamya, Sashtanga Namaskaram, with the head at the feet of the Lord. Then with Kritanjali, with hands folded, he now says, about this joining the palms and Pranamya, Swami Ranganathananji has written here. It's beautiful. I would like to read it. The Psalms in the Old Testament contain very beautiful ideals. I particularly like one beautiful passage published by Harvin Press, that is Holy Bible, Psalms. If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I sink to the nether world, you are present there. Where is a place where you are not? If I take the wings of the dawn, if I settle at the farthest limits of the sea, even there your hand shall guide me, and your right hand hold me fast. We find in this psalm the conception of the universal form, though it is not found in any monotheistic religion. Monotheistic religions separate God and the world. But when it becomes mystical experience in these religions, they break down this barrier. One infinite divine everywhere. That is the realization that comes to these great mystics. We must separate mystics from ordinary creed-bound religious people. The latter have got a God separate from the world and far away. They have got do's and don'ts written down. Do this, don't do this, like that. That is their religion. They have no experience of the divine. But when you begin to experience the divine, many new dimensions come. In India, there was no restriction by any clerical body on the type of experience one should get in one's spiritual practice. All were accepted. So, various descriptions are there of devotees and of their realizations of the divine. No clerical body in India suppressed any particular vision. But other countries had that difficulty. The religious authorities stipulated that only this way you should go. Only this type of realization you should have. A track has been laid, don't go beyond this. So even if they get something higher, the saints have to express it very clearly, very cleverly rather, mildly, so that they may not be persecuted. That's the story of a great Roman Catholic saint like Mr. Eckhart, the 12th century German mystic. He realized the impersonal aspect of God behind the personal God. But in theology, only personal God is given. No place for anything impersonal. So he was called up by the Inquisition in Rome to be punished. Fortunately, he died before he could go to the Inquisition. Similarly, many Muslim Sufi mystics have realized the infinite dimension of the divine. They have realized that they are one with the divine. An al-Haq, I am the divine, is the famous statement of the Sufi mystic who was killed for saying this. You are God? How can you say that? The Islamic priests could not understand or tolerate that dimension, whereas in India, from the ordinary to the most extraordinary, every type of these experiences has been accepted and respected. We don't kill away spiritual people who have had various types of spiritual experiences. In such experiences, we can go deeper and still deeper. So, the idea of killing away a person who went beyond the creed-based limit of religion never happened in India. In all other countries it has happened, including secular Greece and secular Rome. Remember this. It's important. The uniqueness of the country in which we live, that is, he is talking about India because he gave these lectures there. The uniqueness and comprehensiveness of the philosophy that has been guiding us all these hundreds of years must be remembered. So any experience of the divine, we respect. Any experience of the divine, we respect. That's why he says here, Kritanjali Abhashata, with folded hands, Arjuna falls at the feet of Sri Krishna, and then he says the following words, which we will take up later. Pashyami Devamstava is a beautiful, very poetic language has been used in the next few verses. For those who are attending this studies, we will have a break this class till end of November. Om Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gaganasadrisham Meghavarnam Shubhangam Lakshmikantam Kamalanayanam Yogiradhyanagamyam Vande Vishnum Bhavabhayaharam Sarvalokaikhanatham. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om.